We have an update. The Los Angeles County extends the eviction moratorium by 2 months. So basically, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors has voted 3-1 to extend yet again the eviction moratorium. And we're going to talk about the $45 million rental assistance. We're going to talk about this. Welcome to the podcast with Todd and Tasha here in the city of Los Angeles, of course. And we're going to get right into this video. Now, you guys probably already know that the eviction moratorium was to expire on the 31st of January, but so now it is officially extended. Many of us are not surprised that it was going to be extended because of the fact that, so what Los Angeles is saying is that the reason why Los Angeles is extending the eviction moratorium is the fact that they are in fear of 200 and some plus thousand people newly becoming homeless, and that is not good at all. So they figure by doing this will give renters a chance to figure out what they're going to do about their financial situation and even maybe possibly can live somewhere else. This has been going on for a very long time, almost 3 years, and we want to talk about the money for the rental issue. And we also want to talk about both sides of the fence. We want to hear the argument on both sides here. So basically, according to Los Angeles Times, that they're saying again that the pandemic eviction was to lapse by the end of January. So we all know that is not happening according to this update. It was basically for the county-wide renters to be able to stay within their apartment units, and that means that the county of Los Angeles cannot evict renters, low-income renters, even still, because of the vote that just went through the Office of Governors, the Board of Governors. Now, Los Angeles County has actually set aside $45 million for the small mom and pop landlords. Is that really going to be enough? So according to these landlords out here, they're saying it's not enough because it's been, again, nearly 3 years, and 45 million, of course, obviously you divide that amongst no telling how many landlords there are out here, $45 million. So I definitely understand why they're saying it's not enough.
Oh, yeah. I mean, let's be real. Like, that's a drop in the bucket because LA is so expensive.
Right.
So, I mean, it's, okay, it's a nice quote unquote gesture, but, again, that's a drop in the bucket considering how much rent costs out here. And what are the people going to have to do? Are they going to put them through the rigmarole of the application process like they did before, where it was like a little bit challenging for some people to get that information? So then it may prolong the process and all that. So,
yeah, definitely not really sure how that process is going to work for the landlords. So it might be a totally different process, but obviously they're going to have to apply to get that money. But again, they have bills and everything to pay. They have to try to get back a lot of that money that they have missed.
Right.
So I definitely don't know what's going to happen.
Okay. One important thing too, just again, as a reminder, just because, there's a moratorium doesn't mean that your rent is so-called quote unquote forgiven as far as the back rent. You still have to pay that back within the 12-month period of time. So again, just remember your back rent has been accumulated for 3 years. So like Todd said, you have $100,000 that you have to pay back within 12 months time on top of your current rent. So again, that $45 million is just literally a drop in the bucket.
I want to talk about some of the arguments here. Now, the argument on this is really affecting the mom and pop landlords. So the mom and pop landlords, they are saying, hey, we're losing a ton of money here. We have families we have to take care of as well. And not only we have families we have to take care of, but it costs.
Right.
It costs to run the apartment complex.
Right.
I mean, it takes no rocket scientist to understand that.
They still have to pay the electricity bills, water bills, or, whatever, the basic maintenance of the building. They have to upkeep. They have to meet code. Think about that. They have to meet the codes that are mandated by the city and the county as far as their building maintenance. So all of that stuff comes into play, and they're not getting the money. That
is absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Now, so the other argument is this. The mom and pop landlords are saying, well, we don't understand what's going on because it's been nearly 3 years and there are people, renters, who are in a $100,000, more than one. There are several renters that are in $100,000 hole. They have not paid in almost 3 years their rent. So what's going on is that they're complaining because, which they have a right to complain about this, that the renters are saying, hey, I cannot afford to pay my rent. But in the same sentence, they are actually registering new cars, and not just new cars, but new Porsches. They're registering new Porsches at that apartment complex where they live so they can have parking for the duration of the time that they are living at that place, at that complex. So the mom and pop landlords just scratching their head. They're saying, well, hey, you've been saying for nearly 3 years that you cannot afford to pay your rent, but yet and still you're registering Porsches, Benzes, Bentleys, all sorts of new vehicles, but you're in $100,000 or over $100,000 in debt. So it's making others look bad, the renters look bad, who are truly having an issue, who truly cannot afford to pay their rent. And we should know the reason why the renters can't afford to pay rent is because, again, the whole COVID-19 issue to where the whole... I know that the virus that's going around is real. Okay, there's no doubt in my mind that it's real. That was real. But because of the fact that it created fear... then fear brought on panic from the masses. So when it brought on panic from the masses, then employers were laying people off. Well, I should say they were giving people an ultimatum. So either you're going to take the jab or you're done. Simple as that. So they were forcing people to choose between their jobs and taking a jab. So there's a lot of people who refuse to take a jab. So because they refuse to take the jab, they are now out of work.
Right. But also the other part of that too is prior to the whole jab mandates, people were saying that, hey, the industry that I was working in or the business that I was working for is completely shut down. Because they closed, they were in a lockdown, of course, everything was closed. And people are saying that basically they never bounced back. From the maybe the places that they were working, those particular businesses just completely shut down.
Just like all over LA, right. Even downtown.
Yeah, downtown, we see many once thriving restaurants and things like that. And now they are just completely gone. They never came back. They never recovered from being closed down for those months and months. So people who were working there, they may have been working there for a long time, and that was their thing. And so maybe they haven't found, basically got their groove or rhythm back even since then. So that's another thing.
But it's just really sad because these people who lost their businesses due to the panic of
owners,
the virus, they lost their shops, and So like you said, they never was able to recover or bounce back. And it's really sad. So now even a lot of them to this very day, they're trying to figure out how they're going to make ends meet. And they're having a hard time even paying their rent because the poor shops where their families put their whole life savings into these businesses and they can't even afford to even open them back up because they was forced to shut it down because people were so scared to go in there and do business because they were afraid that they were going to get something. And then we know about the whole mask thing. The whole mask thing was a scam. I used to work in medical care in the medical field, and I know the whole mask thing is a scam. It does not stop the virus at all. If it did stop the virus, then why is there a shot? So if there's a shot, then the shot should be good and you shouldn't have to still wear the mask. But that's a whole nother thing I'll get into, we may get into later. But so, again, I think I might have said this already, but just another huge reason. The whole thing is, so LA County said that if these people who can't pay their rent, the 200-some thousand plus people that can't pay their rent, they would be in the streets, homeless, with the other tons of people who cannot pay their rent, or I should say, the other people that's already homeless. Yeah. I'm trying to say it's going to create even a bigger mess. Now, because of this mess already of the homeless situation, is that there's a lot of companies, corporations, businesses, builders. They don't even want to even do business here in Los Angeles because the homeless crisis is just way out of control. It's just way out of control, and they really don't even want to even do business here. And it's really absolutely terrible. It's terrible to have a reputation like that. Yeah. And not to mention, remember, some of you guys may not even know this, but in 2028, we have the 2028 Olympics coming right here to Los Angeles. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be an awesome event. And it's going to last for, I believe, like 2 weeks, a 2-week event, the Summer Olympics. But what are they going to do? So if these 200-some plus people are just basically pushed off into the streets because they can't afford to pay their rent, the question is, are they ever going to be able to recover from that? And then, so not only they need to get help for the homeless situation that's happening right now, but they're going to have to get help for the people who couldn't pay their rent, the 200-some thousand plus that's out in the street. So that's making the problem even bigger. And I don't think Los Angeles and Los Angeles County wants that at all, because it's going to make the city look bad, even worse than what it is now, and especially for the Olympic Games as well. So then how are they going to shadow that,
Well, they're definitely not. They definitely don't want they would definitely want to keep this under wraps. And the problem is they're, to me, prolonging the inevitable, because again, okay, you're extending it this month, 2 months, 6 months, 3 months, whatever the case, but what's the real plan for actually making sure that these people are not going to be on the street? Like there's no I haven't heard anything. I know that we have a new mayor and stuff. So,
well, Mayor Karen Bass, she declared the homeless crisis as a state emergency. But I'm sorry, but it was like every time we get a new mayor, they're always saying, "Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to work on the homeless crisis. We're going to do X, Y, and Z," and nothing gets done from what I mean, because look how bad it's gotten. So I don't know.
It's like night and day between 2000 and we'll say 9. And today, it is like night and day when it comes to being in the atmosphere of downtown and any other part of LA as far as like the transient community. Nothing against them, but it's just sad, it's just, this problem should never have gotten this out of hand.
Yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So then you have the question of the mom and pop landlords. So they're asking again, in terms of, okay, this is going on too long as far as people are saying they aren't able to pay their rent. And they just don't understand. And not just them, but a lot of people are asking questions. Well, you've had 3 years to pay your rent, to get back on track. So what's going on? What's been going on for the past 3 years that you still can't afford to pay your rent? I'm not here to judge. I don't know what's going on in people's lives, but of course we do know, like, listen, again, honestly, there are people who basically is scamming the system. It's just basically totally scamming the system. But you have to think, what's going on? Why can't, and especially during the past 3 years, I think I was researching and there was, renters assistance or something. So where people can apply for renters assistance, and I guess they have to let the landlords know that they won't be able to make payment on their rent. Let them know, I think maybe like a few days after or before or something like that.
Yeah, it has to be within 7 days after the rent is due. So if your rent is due on the 1st, you have to say something by the 8th. Or if your rent is due, a weird day, you have to say something within by 7 days after that date. Otherwise, they can go ahead and, evict.
So I really believe that this is not the end. I think that they are going to extend it once again. So they're saying that, basically according to Los Angeles Times, they said that the Board of Supervisors just basically like, okay, this is going to be last time. We're going to extend it just 2 more months. That's it. But come on now. So I think they're just trying to buy time to just really figure out how they can keep this from being a crisis, which technically it already is a crisis. And technically it's already been a crisis in the city of Los Angeles, not just the city of Los Angeles, but the Los Angeles County. I mean, Palmdale, Lancaster, areas like Santa Clarita, all over. But of course, mainly in the city of Los Angeles, it is a huge crisis. And the politicians, I feel that they don't even give a crap because, like I said before, if they gave a crap, then it would not be where it is now. So
yeah, I mean, I totally agree because again, the bottom line is our city, county, etc. You want it to be respectable. You want it to be a place where people feel safe. And like you said, the Olympics is coming. Okay, so what exactly is going on as far as like making sure that people are safe, not only the transient community, but people that come and patronize this particular great state?
Exactly. So yeah, something definitely needs to be done. So we don't want to create the whole situation is very complicated. So we don't want to create anything more just out of control than what it is now. And like I said, you have just all these homeless people and they're just basically pooping all over the sidewalk in broad daylight. They're even pooping on the side of buildings and smearing poop on the buildings, actually smearing poop on the buildings. You had to basically play hopscotch when you're walking down the street because you don't want to step in any poop. But I just really pray that Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, the government really gets this taken care of because it's really out of control too. So, and you may still be able to get help out there in terms of maybe back rent or helping you to get out of the situation, climb your way out of the situation. There may be like various Catholic charities that you can check out, go on Google and check it out. I'm not really sure. Just kind of like you have to just stay researching and digging because I'm sure there's someone out there that can just help you out.
Right. And so a couple references too is, of course, obviously the Department of Health and Human Services, and also, looking for information in terms of the actual stay, we'll call it, moratorium itself. You can always, of course, just simply Google LA County Consumer and Business Affairs. And they have like basically a whole sheet, or not sheet, web page. Right. To show you, what's going on with that.
So I hope this video was able to shed some light on some of the situations that's going on now. And we all just need to pray together so we can get the whole thing cleared up because everything is a mess and everyone is hurting on both sides of the fence. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe all over social media. If you don't have social media, share anyway. You can share by picking up the phone, telling someone about this great channel. And we are out of here. Peace, love, happiness, and all of the above.